Hello, citizens of all nations are suffering tremendously in one way or another. War, starvation, fire, unemployment, disease, displaced people, drug and human trafficking, children abduction, forced migration, gang war, environmental crisis. If this is not a disastrous time, I don't know what is. Just one element, such as war, has caused over 75 million displaced and homeless people around the world. Women and children sleeping in tents in snow or heat of a summer sun, some for as long as 5 years. Hunger and starvation takes the lives of 9.1 million people a year. The figure for children alone is 1,600 per day who die of starvation, one child every 5 seconds. 800,000 people commit suicide every year in the world due to pressure that they cannot fathom. We are in a horrible crisis indeed. Any human being with a bit of conscience would ask himself, what can I do to help? All it takes is to relate and understand the depths of this tragedy. Governments of all the countries around the world are chosen and paid not only to relate to their citizens' need, but to be in constant search and implementation of ways to make their lives better. Easier and healthier. The proverb says, if everyone cleans the front of his home, we will have a whole clean city. This also is true in a larger scale in the world. This crisis cannot be handled alone, as it was not created alone. It takes cooperation of all nations, and there has to be an agency that monitors and implements and coordinates all the affairs and endeavor into an emergency projects such as United Nations. Governments and United Nations are responsible for this crisis simply because they have been designated and paid handsomely to create a harmonious and peaceful living condition for all the citizens. With over 1.6 billion people homeless in the world, 9.1 million die of starvation every year. The budget of the US alone on military is over $700 billion every year. Saudi Arabia's annual military budget is $70 billion with the population of only 33 million people. What are all these guns needed for? This is totally the result of a failure on the part of heads of the states, of governments and religious leaders. And I emphasize on religious leaders, because these entities are holding tremendous power to implement and change. This is a failure on their part. When we focus on saving and enhancing lives, Destroying and destruction of lives does not become a choice, not even in any condition. Death and destruction is not a choice, rather an ignorant and egoistic attitude toward a conflict that in reality is insignificant and resolvable. The heads of the governments and the religious leaders are paid agencies to implement peace, harmony, unity, cooperation, growth, and health to all mankind. They are either part of the solution, or they are part of the problem itself. United Nations holds a major position to implement, regulate, and enhance global unity. Without this, imperialism of certain superpowers becomes an ordinary thing as we see it today, extending their power, military power, and influence through military force throughout the world. And the result are disasters as we see it today. The tyranny of individuality is the basis of all corruption. Global efforts are the key. Cooperation toward a higher goal. Education and enrichment in the global level by the superpowers are two very important subjects that must be implemented as soon as possible to end this crisis that are going on. We have not tried education as we ought to. Significant reduction in military budget by all countries and directing the difference into elimination of hunger and homelessness is a must before these crises are worsened. Creating new jobs through betterment of roads and buildings by new upgraded materials are also a vast field that needs to be tapped into to improve unemployment. Starvation is a soundless war that takes 25,000 lives every day. Every day. Who can allow that to continue? Religious leaders must realize that their position in global harmony is much greater than the heads of the states, simply because they possess much more devoted followers that would be happy in uniting for such a good cause. All they need to be guided toward it. Prison system is also an issue. If you eliminate education and hope from any individual, you have created a death-like situation for that individual. As physical body needs water and air to grow, so is work, endeavor, and growing is for the mental aspect of the human being. Seek, choose, and grow are three basic and essential foundations of existence. Therefore, inmates that are due to be released within 1 or 2 years can attend a program called enrichment whereby under supervision of a company or a tradesman engage in a job with a basic pay and hands-on training and doing the work to rely on it when they are released. This creates a great hope and fulfillment for their future, a necessary and vital ingredients of a secure life, which guarantees no return to the previous correction agency. Conclusion. Many years ago, as a cab driver, one night I had a call from a bar. When I reached there, I noticed a young girl who walked toward my cab. "Hello, ma'am. Did you call a cab?" I asked. "Yes, sir," she answered, while getting in the cab. She gave me the address and I started driving. She was a dancer in that club, looked very tired. When I reached to the destination, I noticed that the address is an abandoned house with broken doors and windows. "Is that the address?" I asked with a trembling voice. She nodded her head, gave me the money and walked out of the cab towards the house. I could not allow myself, and I repeat, I could not allow myself to witness such a thing. Opened the door and walked out of the cab towards her and got in front of her. "Please, listen to me. You cannot stay in this place. You will get killed," I said with the eyes full of tears. "Listen, sir. I lost my parents in a car accident a few years ago. After that I lost the house and everything else. I have nowhere to go," she said with a sad voice. "I beg you, I offer you my place. I ask you of nothing. You can stay there till you find a proper place. You owe me nothing. Please, I beg you," I said with tears running over my face. She trusted me and came. She stayed with me for 1 year. She got a better job, signed up in college. I helped her to get a car, and she was very happy. After a year, she got an apartment and left. I don't know what would I do if there were no heroes like you around, she told me before leaving. No matter who you are and what position you hold, please think about becoming a hero for someone in this very troubled time that we are living in. That is the only way that this crisis will end and the blessings will surround people again. Our criterion must change. Our criterion must change. Thank you for listening.